Welcome to the channel. I'm going to review the Google generative, AI generative game environments. Now, they have the VOE3 for video. Now, Google has developed something that may be in competition with the Unreal Engine or other game developing software. This is Genie 3. Let's listen in.
Are not games or videos. They're worlds. Each one of these is an interactive environment generated by Genie 3, a new frontier for world models. With Genie 3, you can use natural language to generate a variety of worlds and explore them interactively, all with a single text prompt.
Now, I can already see an issue with this. You would have to alter, well, maybe they have that, alter parts of the environment with another text prompt. Let's see.
Let's see what it's like to spend some time in a world. Genie 3 has real-time interactivity, meaning that the environment reacts to your movements and actions. You're not walking through a pre-built simulation. Everything you see here is being generated live as you explore it. And Genie 3 has world memory. That's why environments like this one stay consistent. World memory even carries over into your actions. For example, when I'm painting on this wall, my actions persist. I can look away and generate other parts of the world. But when I look back, the actions I took are still there. And Genie 3 enables promptable events, so you can add new events into your world on the fly. Something like another person, or transportation, or even something totally unexpected. You can use Genie to explore real-world physics and movement, and all kinds of unique environments. You can generate worlds with distinct geographies, historical settings, fictional environments, and even other characters. We're excited to see how Genie 3 can be used for next-generation gaming and entertainment. And that's just the beginning. Worlds can help with embodied research, training robotic agents before working in the real world, or simulating dangerous scenarios for disaster preparedness and emergency training. World models can open new pathways for learning, agriculture, manufacturing, and more.
Now, because this generating is much faster than, let's say, bringing in assets, well, they already have very expensive software where you can generate worlds. There's like a monthly fee of a couple $100. And to do it with just a text prompt seems to be more efficient. But how much is this going to cost? How much is this going to cost? If this is just a text prompt, I mean, Google knows how much money they can make with this, because if other people are already like Unreal Engine, after you make a certain amount of money, then they start charging you, or according to their license agreement, you have to pay them after you make a certain amount of money. And they have other world building software that costs a few $100s a month. It can be very expensive. So this is for people that, want to create simulations for, disaster preparedness or video games. I don't know how far along they are yet, because with video games, if you want to sculpt it to something, very specific, you would have to generate it through prompt, and then you would have to consistently edit your environment to get it right. So how much is this going to cost?
We're excited to see how Genie 3's world simulation can benefit research around the world.
Okay, that was it. So three appears to be, it looks good. We're going to look at the specs that I can generate. Assuming this is from Genie 3, or it could not be. They did specific. Looks like his movie could be video. actually moving through that environment. To prompt their interactive world, using the arrow keys to move throughout the world. Yeah, for an actual video game, constantly adjust to get it to where you want. And then there's the the controls. You have to add, that's why see, this is not going to replace Unreal Engine. Yeah, this I think is going to be a supplement or an addition to help software like Epic Games Unreal Engine, because there's still a lot of technical environment. You have to add the controls to the environment and how the controls interact with the environment. So, and I'm going to load Unreal Engine up. And Unreal Engine, you have you would drag in different assets, such as these trees you see over here. And these rocks. So developing a world could take some time if you're doing it manually. Carefully sculpting it. Let me see. That. And getting it right. Forgive the skipping. It's not as smooth when I'm doing this recording, but you have different assets that you would drag in, and they have free assets and they have paid for assets. So, it costs money to produce a game, whether it be the assets or the programmers. So I don't think the software is going to be very cheap for Google. This can get expensive when you're creating models and creating assets. So we can move this up and move it back. Go up. So I can navigate throughout this world. Again, forgive me for the skipping. But with text prompt, you can generate all this with words, but then you would have to, with more text prompts to edit it, if you want the river to go a certain direction, a certain way, and maybe there'll be more tools available to be very specific. Because how do you prompt, I guess, at the head of the river, 4 feet, make it go 2 meters to the right? I mean, how would that work? So, pretty interesting how the software is going to develop. So here we have the specs for game engine, okay? Genie 2, VOE, and Genie 3. Genie 3, you have 720 as the highest so far. So they're still in development. They're still in development, and VOE we have up to 4K. General, there says video level for control, and Genie 3 is navigation, promptable, world events, and we have multiple minutes for Genie 3, and we have 8 seconds for VOE. So it's got 720p is the limitation, but they're still in development. So it's a start. It's going to develop. I'm sure it's going to become very advanced, but how long would that take? A few years, a few months? They want to maybe release these the technologies.